You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the national streaming sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
I'll start over. Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here with TGI Sports Talks, one-on-one with Keith Engle. It's the last Friday of March, and you know what that means. It's Sound Off Friday. So we're going to want you guys to sound off. We'll also have Jim Biringer in to talk about the NHL, some college basketball, the NFL draft, whatever Jim's got on his mind, we'll talk about, especially hockey. We'll get some of that in. But you guys are welcome to come in and chat about anything you want to chat about. I want to welcome everybody watching today on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. We're live on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel. We welcome everybody watching there. What else? The groups that allow us to share the show constantly and does so well and gets so many views for us. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities. Greg Rawlings with several groups, including America's Pastime to Love for Baseball. Probably won't share this show because I don't think we're going to have a lot of baseball content today, but we will later. We'll talk about that in a second. The Bottom Line Sports with Flo and the Gang, great podcast, and they do their live podcasting on Let's Talk Sports, who's also a great friend of this show. Still lets us share our content, not live. We don't share it, but we do share it after the fact. Ken Krause at Golf Budge Sports of All Sorts. Ralph Williams, we want to give a shout out to Ralph Williams over there at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Pittsburgh, specifically the Sports Corner on Tuesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern with Smoke and Jim Frazier. Great stuff. Ralph's got a radio presence again now, doing some good stuff. Not sure if I want to go that direction when I retire. We'll see. Maybe we'll try to expand the reach of the show. I don't know. But it's going to be your show, so sound off. I see a few people popping in. I'll put the link up in a second. In fact, I'll put it now. Jim Biringer is scheduled to join us, but I haven't heard from Jim this morning. If Jim comes in, we're going to talk some NHL, and he can certainly help with the sound off portion here. Who's here? By the way, DDH thumbs up. Later on today, we will have... anybody wants to come in and sound off, please do it. Any number of topics you can talk about. The NHL, if Jim comes in, it'll be a big topic today. College basketball. Chalk is winning. Rodgers thinks he's got a lot of leverage. The NFL draft, Wilson to the Giants. What else? The SEC, the tournament, SEC dominating. We can talk about that. And then MLB opened yesterday. The White Sox are on a 162 game win pace. We're going to have the MLB update preview show at 3:00 today. Probably go 2 hours. Drew Ehrlich will join me for that show. We'll preview all the different divisions. We'll give you our award winners and World Series and participants and winners. We'll give you everything you want to know, and you're invited to participate as well. If you choose, let me say a couple good mornings, and I hope somebody, how come what happened here? I thought I put the invite in here. I won't take it. Well, that could be a problem, eh? Let me put this in here again before I get to my good mornings. There we go. So again, guys, all you got to do is click that link or copy and paste it into your browser. You can come in and sound off on anything you're ticked off about. I see John Gonzalez. The Patriots need cornerback, but I'm not taking a cornerback at that 4 spot. PFF, who I follow and I think is very good, has him as the about 15th kind of drafted. If they trade back, maybe, but I don't see them trading back. I think it's an offensive tackle if it's not going to be Hunter or Carter. There was some talk about McMillan before they signed Diggs. So I'm not sure about that. But, John, you're welcome to come in and talk about your New York teams and what they've done, staying away from Rodgers, signing Wilson. And it's interesting. The two New York teams signing three interesting quarterbacks. Fields first with the Jets, who I like. Wilson, who I don't like anymore. He's done. And Winston, the Giants. So are they still going to take a quarterback? ESPN today still has them taking Shador at 3. That'd be crazy. We get to a couple other good mornings. Good morning, Rich. How are you? Rick Sherlock, good to see you. Rick could be doing his rehab today. JB, you're welcome to pop in. You want to talk some baseball? Do it. How much? That's another thing. Jack brought up a great point today. Let me bring, I think we got all, there's John. We got, anybody else want to say hello? Do it. If you want to come in a room, click the link. MLB, what are you doing, man? I won't get a chance to go off on this. I will a little bit today, but I'm going to go off on it right now. Jack brought up a great point. Yesterday's opening day for Major League Baseball. And what's a bigger story, the NCAA or Major League Baseball's opening day? It's definitely the tournament, but that's Major League Baseball's own fault. We don't make it special. I understand it's 162 games. Opening day for for MLB used to be huge. Give Cincinnati a standalone event. But now we open in Japan 6 or 7 times in the last 20 years. We don't even push. We don't make a big deal. There's no fanfare. You'd have fanfare. Put Cincinnati in whatever you want to put. Play the game. Play the Field of Dreams game. I don't know if you can play in Iowa in April, but for March, play the Field of Dreams game at opening day and play Cincinnati and the White Sox every day, every year. That would give Cincinnati the platform they had for decades. It gives the White Sox a little boost. And I say the White Sox only because they were the team that was, featured more or less in Field of Dreams. Just get so much that ticks me off. So, guys, it's your show. Come in here and get on the Jets taking Sanders. John mentioned this on the Mac and Jack show. It'll be interesting. I mean, let me see where PFF has him now. The last time they had him down about 19. That doesn't mean that's where he's going to go. That's their rankings themselves, right? So we don't need to get too excited there. Quarterback. Let's just see where he's at now. 46 he's dropped to. And by the way, Cam Ward is 21 on their draft board. They back up everything that I talk about when it comes to drafting quarterbacks. Do not trade quarterbacks in the top 10. It doesn't work out. I've told this story 100 times in almost 60 years since the common draft started in 1967. 8% of those quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. 8%. First round picks have won Super Bowls. And a handful of those didn't do it with the team that drafted them. I understand you have a need you got to take. This is a weak draft for quarterbacks, guys. PFF, who I stand by with their rankings, 100%. Cam Ward, 21. Shedeur Sanders, 46. That's middle of second round, guys. Then it's a big drop all the way to Jalen Milroe at 99 and Will Howard at 112. Riley Leonard, 121. Jackson Dart, who's shooting up draft boards. This one I don't agree with, at 129. That's fourth round. He's certainly a steal there. Quinn Ewers at 142. A guy I like, Kyle McCord out of Syracuse. He's going to be a project, but he's got a quick release. He's got some size, decent size. I think he is better than fourth round. There's great value there. If you want to wait and he's there. Now, that doesn't mean that's where these guys are going. So again, if you got a topic to sound off on, I can bring you in for 10 minutes. I'd let you speak. When you sound off, I don't speak. Comments are in there. I'm going to put them in again as a few more people have joined us. Click the link, put it in the browser, whatever. You can come in. I'm going to give it 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It's hard for you guys, anybody to go. I don't know how I do it sometimes. Just talk for 10 minutes straight. I do it for 2 hours straight. My wife, and I do it even when I'm not on here. So my wife is happy I took up this hobby because it keeps me from talking to her for, 2 hours straight at some point in the day. But we'll give you 5 minutes to rant about anything. Come on, John, pop in here and tell me why I'm all wrong about Joe Namath. That's John Gonzalez. I'm challenging you right now to come in here, and I did do a little mea culpa on Joe Namath. I'm just trying to fire John up a little bit. John, click that link, and you come in here, and you can berate me for 5 to 10 minutes, and I won't say a word till you're done. We are waiting on Jim Biringer. If Jim comes in, we're going to talk some NHL hockey. We haven't had an update from him in a few weeks. I don't know where he is. Where are you? You're not in here. Oh, there. Okay. I wonder if I sent. Hold on. I got to send Jim the link again. He's in the wrong place. Oh God! If something happens I love live events, right? Let me get John. Let me get Jim in here real quick. So anyway, you guys are welcome to come in, and Jim can be part of that conversation before we get to his spot. So do not hesitate to pop in here, guys. You are more than welcome to. That's what this show is for. The last Friday of the month is for you guys. If I can get my paste to work here. I must have sent Jim the wrong link. I don't know. Just sent it. Resent. Oh God, what a day. Great TV, huh? All right, we'll get Jim Biringer here in a second. We're going to talk some hockey. I thought I could call in John. I thought I could get John to come in and kind of rate me about my Namath comments from a few weeks ago. Ward, Carter, and Hunter, first 3 picks should be, John. If the Giants trade out of there, if somebody trades up for that 3 pick, or second pick or whatever, I mean, Carter should be the number 1 guy. I think Will Campbell, John thinks Will Johnson goes to the Patriots at 4. I think it's Will Campbell unless Hunter or Carter is still there. And I really believe, and I know James Martin wanted to bet me because I said, of all the guys we're talking about, the 2 we'll still be talking about in 10 years are going to be Hunter and Carter. We won't be talking about Cam Ward 10 years. I love Cam Ward. But I don't think he's going to have a prolific NFL career. He might. I don't hate the man. Junior Sanders might. We don't know. Both great college quarterbacks. Tons of great college quarterbacks have not made it on the next level. Sonia laughing at my issues again. You don't want to come in here and tell me how wrong I am, John? I didn't really mean to say that Joe Namath sorry. Joe Namath was not a great quarterback. I just said he's the most overrated quarterback in the Hall of Fame. That's all. Who's coming in here? That's Jim Biringer. We'll bring Jim in a second. So anyway, guys, you're going to have your ability. You can sound off still. You talk about any of the stuff that we've kind of talked about here the first 15 minutes, but we'll get Jim in. We'll get an update on some hockey news and get his take on the tournament so far and maybe the NFL draft and whatever else. But anytime during that, you can feel free to click the links I've posted, and I'll post a few more times. And you can come in and we'll give you your 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll be quiet, and Jim and I will comment if you should choose to do so. John, I'd love you to come in about Joe Namath. Jim Biringer, good morning.
What's going on? How we doing?
Awesome, my friend Jim Biringer from FullPressHockey.com, from Let's Talk Sports. Where else, Jim? Tell us where else we can find you.
Media, NHLrumors.com. That's about it.
It's always the one I miss.
Yeah.
It's been a little while since we chatted, and we got a little bit to talk about. I mean, I want to get your take on where we're at with the NHL, with 10 games roughly, I guess, left to play. Am I right? With my math there. Who are the trade deadline winners and losers as you see them today? And I know you were at the GM meetings here just 10 days or so ago. Any big news that might have come out of there? And then we'll get into a couple other topics.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, look, I think that the big thing is goalie interference. I think that was a big thing at the GM's meetings. A lot of people are still not understanding what the rule is and understanding. We've had a couple this week. There was one in the Calgary game, and there was one in the Islander game at the beginning of the week. And, it's just margins. But people have to understand, if they're watching the games every day and following the league like I do every day, and you watch these games, it's the standard. Whether you agree with it or not, that's how they've been calling it the whole year. People keep sending me stuff. Oh, how come this is not goalie interference? How come? Go online and read. The rule book's right there. The explanations are right there. And if you still don't disagree, if you still don't get it, then I can't help you, because that's been the standard the whole season with the National Hockey League and goal interference. The playoffs aren't changing, so I know a lot of people want the playoff format to change and everything, but, I don't know. I can't help you with that. Gary Bettman says he's not changing 1 to 8. He likes the divisional round, and he's not expanding the overtime to 10 minutes as much as we loved it in the Four Nations face-off. It's not going to happen. But I know the big thing is the goalie interference stuff. So, with the
goalie interference, I mean, doesn't it feel like they can't do better than they're doing as fast as the game is today? This is going to happen in my mind, and there's not a lot more you can do about it than they're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. There's not more that you could do. I mean, it's a judgment call. It's a subjective call. It goes by the call on the ice. That's what people don't need to realize. What the call on the ice is the call on the ice. This isn't the NFL. This isn't Major League Baseball. This isn't other sports. The Situation Room in Toronto is not, unless there's an abundance of evidence that changes this call to goaltender interference, then they're not. The call on the ice will be the call on the ice.
Well, good, because this is why I can watch a hockey game in about 2 hours and 15 minutes and not 4 hours. So
right. Yeah. Exactly. Like, I know a lot of people keep complaining about it, and I've watched multiple things from last night, and I've seen multiple things, but the goals I've seen, the stuff that was challenged for goalie interference, it's been right. Once you make contact with the goaltender in the blue crease, unless the puck is there, and they feel that he's deemed not to been able to play as his position, if the puck is there, the puck is loose, and you go into the blue paint, and the goalie's down, right? Again, a lot of people don't understand. If the goalie's down and half of his body's outside the blue paint, then it's not goalie interference. They have to realize it. It's the call on the ice. Whatever the call on the ice is, that's the call on the ice. And Toronto does not want to overrule the referees on the ice unless there is an abundance of evidence that will do that.
Cool. I get that sense that, and I think we talked about this a few weeks back, that you like that 3-3 overtime. I don't know that I'd want to see it in the playoffs in the NHL. It worked well with when they used it. Are you happy with what we're doing now and not seeing that change for the NHL playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want. Well, first of all, they would never change the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's continuous 5-on-5 overtime, so that's never going to change. The 20-minute continuous 5-on-5 overtime. So let's get that one out of the way, and then the second one is that the 3-on-3 10-minute overtime at Four Nations was great. I understand why they're not doing it. Like, I get it, players, they don't want to, the taxing on the body, back-to-backs, I get it. I think some players would be in favor of 7 minutes, but some of the excuses, the wear and tear in the body, we just don't want to do it. Like, just come out and say you just don't want to do it. Like, just don't give me excuses. Like, don't give me lines. Like, the players don't want to do it either, right? So if the players don't want to do it and the owners don't want it, just say, hey, we just voted. We just didn't want to do it. And I think everybody would be fine with that. It's never going to playoffs. I personally would love to see it in the regular season go to 7 minutes. But again, the shootouts are down. Most of the games are being settled in 3-on-3 overtime. It's not like shootouts are up. If shootouts were up, I'd be like, okay, we need to extend it a little bit more. But most of the 80% of the games are being finished in overtime. So, I mean, the NHL is really in a good place, and we really don't have to worry about the overtime.
What about the trade deadline that passed since we last chatted? Do you see any clear winners and losers at this juncture as we head into the stretch run before the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I mean, I look at it, right? I look at the Central and the Atlantic divisions. Everybody, like the top teams got better. Dallas with Mikko Rantanen. They already had made additions with Cody Ceci and Granlund before that. Colorado, obviously, with Brock Nelson and Charlie Coyle. You add Lindgren. You add all those players. They're really looking good. Winnipeg with Tanev and Luke Shen. And then in the East, Oliver Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gord go to Tampa. Brad Marchand goes to Florida. They add Seth Jones as well. Toronto gets Scott Lawton and Brandon Carlo. Like, those are the heavyweight teams right now. Vegas did everything that they did last year. They just add a small minor piece. LA's looking really good. But those top teams at the top of the divisions, and I like what Ottawa did too, because you add Dylan Cousins, which is something that they needed. But to me, those 6 teams that I named off the top, Colorado, Dallas, Winnipeg, Florida, Toronto, and Tampa, were the best, did the best.
I saw some debate this week about the better story to the season so far, whether it's the great seasons that the Capitals and the Jets have had. And the Jets, by the way, have Dallas clipping at their heels as good as they played. To me, it's got to be the Capitals and Ovechkin's chase of Gretzky. It's got to be a bigger story than the Jets, no?
Oh, yeah, 100. I mean, what Winnipeg's doing is unbelievable, because no one knew that they were going to do this. I think a lot of people had them like in third place in the Central. I don't think anybody had them at the top of the division, but that's what you get when you have the best goalie in the world in Connor Hellebuyck. And he should be up for the Hart Trophy this year. He's one of the best players in the league. But you look at it and you say, what Ovi's doing right now, he missed 16 games. He probably should already have it. The fact of the matter is that the Washington Capitals, I don't think anybody expected Washington Capitals to be first place in the division either. I think I had them as a playoff team. I expected Ovi to break the record. And what he's doing at his age is remarkable. Same with Sidney Crosby. I mean, Crosby now 20 straight seasons being point-per-game player. And then you look at it and you say what Ovi's going to do at the end of the year. If he does it against his biggest rival, the guy that he's been tied with throughout his entire career, would be awesome. I mean, what he did in Washington last night, not in Washington, I'm sorry, Minnesota. Caps played Minnesota. Ovi played Fleury one final time, and then he's like, no, before his team goes off, just down the tunnel, they stay out, pay his respects to Fleury. So, I mean, that's what a leader does. That's what a captain does. And it just shows the game is real classy. And if he gets it done, I think everybody wants to get it done this season.
You feel like it will? I mean, it seemed like a no-brainer a while back. He's got to get 6 more in 10-ish games.
Yeah, I think he can do it. I mean, it's gonna come down to the wire, but I think he's gonna do it.
Rick's predicting the last game of the season.
The last game of the season is against Sidney Crosby.
That'd be interesting. with this, he's going to get this record, whether he does get it this year or it's in the first couple games next year, whatever. He's going to get it. Where does this place Ovechkin among the greats, Gretzky, Orr, Howe, Lemieux?
I mean, he's the best
Yager,
pure goal
Richard?
scorer. He's the best pure goal scorer the game's ever seen.
Yeah.
Like I'm easily gonna say that he's the best pure goal scorer the game has ever seen.
Is there any of the guys I just kind of ran down the top? So Gretzky, I just threw out a couple. Gretzky, Orr, Howe, Lemieux, Yager, Richard.
I mean, he's not going to pass any of the, like, that's the Mount Rushmore of hockey. He's not going to
You don't take him above, as a hockey player, you don't take him above any of
he's
those.
the best. Like, if you look at it, he's the best pure goal scorer the game has ever seen. He's going to be top 10. He's top 10 player, probably could be top 5 player. But again, if you go down the list, it's Gretzky, Orr, Lemieux, Howe, Crosby could be in there. Then you get Ovechkin, Yager's up there. Like he's definitely one of the top 10 players of all time for sure.
Rick says he looks older than Jack Kirshner himself. I have to put myself in there.
He's got that gray beard going. I love it.
John Gonzalez is saying hi, and he also wants to know what you think about the Panthers repeating. So that brings me to my next kind of question. Who do you see best positioned right now to make a run at this cup? I know it's wide open.
I mean, it's hard to argue against Florida, right? Look good, got great goaltender. Bobrovsky, add Seth Jones, you add Marchand. He's going to be playing. Kachuk's going to come back. He gets back in the lineup. That team's dangerous. The other team in Florida, Tampa, that team's going to be really good. You know, like I said before, Colorado's positioned to win the cup. Winnipeg could be in there. Dallas, Vegas, don't sleep on Vegas Golden Knights. And I think LA finally could get past Edmonton because they're going to have home ice advantage. But the issue is, you know, somebody's going to go home unhappy. There's only one winner. And, you know, I think a team from the West will probably win it. I think Vegas I think the winner of Colorado, Dallas, is going to go to the Stanley Cup final. Just because it's gonna be a tough series, and I could see Tampa or Florida from the East again. I just really can. I just think those teams are positioned so well.
Well, I wanted to ask you about our area teams, right? And any chance? I mean, right now I don't see any of them having any chance. It looks like your Devils have kind of tread water since we were last here. The Rangers kind of the same thing. The Islanders might be playing better hockey than any of the three at the moment.
Yeah, but they're not getting in. And if they get in, they're going to be out in the first round. They're just not good enough to compete right now. New Jersey's dealing with a lot of injuries. They played really good against Blackhawks. They kind of fought through some demons in the third period without Jack Hughes, without Dougie Hamilton, without, Jonas Siegenthaler. The Rangers are a complete mess. They're going to be making changes in the offseason. That's a given. They have to. It started all year. The Islanders, they move out Brock Nelson. They had other deals in place to move other players and get younger, and they didn't do it. And this is what Lou teams do. They just hang around. But is it good enough to just hang around, squeeze in, and lose? Or do you want to sustain something like Washington's going to do for a long time when they've retooled on the fly? As the older players get older, you're bringing in younger players to keep your sustainability going. And the Washington Capitals have done it the right way.
There's a dogfight at least to get that fourth spot in the Metropolitan between the Islanders, Rangers, and Columbus. Who do you see getting that last spot? It doesn't matter, we know, but
the last spot in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you got to cross divisions too. I mean, Ottawa won, so they're kind of locked in wild card 1 right now. But you got Montreal, you got Columbus, you got Detroit, you got the New York Rangers, the New York Islanders. They're all right there. Nobody seems to want it. Everybody seems to be losing lately. And you look at it and they say to themselves, okay, who's going to step up and take this last spot? Feels like Detroit's kind of out of it. The Rangers don't deserve to be there, and the players don't really want to make the playoffs. They really want the general manager to make changes, and they kind of want him out. The Islanders, like I said, if they get in, they're going to be one and done. If Montreal can get in, it'd be great for the league and great for the city just because of the way they've been playing. And the Bell Center be rocking. If Columbus gets in, it's a great story. But I think whoever gets in that last spot's going home early because it's just good. It's too much just to get in. You're gonna have use too much energy just to get in, and you're gonna have nothing left.
Is there a team that's fighting for one of those last spots that you could see making a run? A team that comes to mind, the Blues come to mind a little bit for me.
Right, I mean, the Blues have started to turn it around in the Western Conference. I mean, since Four Nations, I mean, Bennington, it looks like the team that won the Cup in 2019, Jim Montgomery, and again, it was Jim Montgomery really the problem in Boston. I think that the Blues are playing the right way. The offer sheet boys, Philip Broberg, Dylan Holloway, are playing really well. And you look at what they've done, Doug Armstrong threatens to trade everybody, and everybody's stepping up. And they've won 8 straight, and they're clicking really good on all cylinders. So they're keeping pace with the Minnesota Wild. And look, Vancouver's there, but they're missing Pedersen and Hoglander, and Demko's finally back, and Quinn Hughes is there. Calgary, a tough loss against Dallas. They may not get in, but they've been playing some meaningful hockey this year. Jonathan Huberdeau's had a nice season. Blues, to me, I think, out of the West, if they match up with like Winnipeg or something, they could give them trouble just because of the way they've been playing. And Bennington, we know what he can do in the playoffs.
Fair enough. Coaches. Peter Laviolette going to survive this down season in New York?
No, and if he doesn't survive, then the GM needs to go with him, because I think that's the way it's looking. Right? Like, you can't fire another coach as the general manager. How many coaches are you going to get? But the problem is if you fire another coach after 2 seasons, after you got rid of Gerard Gallant, after 2 seasons, well, what's that say about you? Is it the players? Is it the coach? Is it the GM? Like I said, we've talked about this before on this program when it went down. I never understood why they got rid of Jeff Gordon and John Davidson. I didn't like it. I didn't think it made sense. They were putting a plan in place. The rebuild was in place. They got lucky because of the bubble playoff. They were taking the right steps to be a sustainable franchise. But to go from conference final, first round exit, conference final, and not make the playoffs, there's a problem here. When I speak with players, especially guys that have been there, they felt that they had something going there. And I don't think the players really like the GM. I don't think they really think that, what the GM was doing middle of the season just to all of a sudden change everything. Like, Colorado had to change things because their goaltending was bad. And they completely revamped their team to fill needs. The Rangers just wanted to revamp their team, but no direction to it. They tried to do it in the offseason. Guys didn't want to leave. Well, play out the season because they started well. And then they went into a tailspin. You move out players. But again, it comes down to the old adage, where are the players playing? Who's playing? Right? You see it. John Tortorella gets fired in Philadelphia because of some stuff that happened. And it was brewing, right? He didn't like the direction of the team, what happened at the trade deadline. There were some blow-ups after the game because of performances, getting in players' faces. Again, he wears out his welcome, and he gets players playing the right way. But Michkov has probably his best game as a Flyer since, coming over. Guys look more loose. Guys are having more fun. They're playing where they're playing. And you look at, same with San Jose, Celebrini's playing, he's going through his growing pains. But Capo Caco is having a great season now in Seattle because he's playing in the right position. He's not a third-line checking winger. You drafted him 2nd overall to be a top 6 forward. Give him an opportunity. I know, sometimes he didn't take it. But again, you played him 1 game. I know he didn't work. Okay, well, we got to move on. Well, no. That's not how it works. And again, it's just a case of these coaches think that they know better, and then they don't. And then you see what happens, like Brendan Hoffman comes in. Oh, well, he's got to play the 4th line because, we need him to do certain things. And then when he doesn't develop, it's like, oh, well, he just didn't develop him. And then he goes to another team, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You just misused him the wrong way. It's the old adage that I just don't think made sense. And I think the Rangers are going to regret allowing Chris Knobloch to go take the Edmonton Oilers job. I think that's the guy they should have hired, because I think the Rangers would have been in a better place than we see with Philadelphia. Look, again, I don't know what direction they're going to go in. There's talk about Rick Tocchet. Could Brad Shaw, the interim coach, be the guy? It's going to be tough to evaluate him over 9 games, to be honest. If you really wanted to make this coaching change and you really felt that a new direction was needed, I would have done it with 20 games left. At least it's 20 games. To see what the team does. But I think they don't really want to get Rick Tocchet. I don't know if David Carl is going to come from Denver. I wouldn't leave college. Like, in any major pro sport, if I have a team that's winning and I'm the king of the castle and I'm the best in the world at what I do, I'm not going to a professional sport where I know if I don't perform, I get fired. No, I'm staying in my job.
Has there been a coach? I mean, Herb Brooks had semi-success. It's been a great amateur coach that has made it in the NHL that I'm missing.
I mean, I'd have to look through it.
Yeah.
I think Badger Bob Johnson might have come into the NHL and coached. Herb did well. Like, he was an amateur coach. He's done well. There's been some guys, but it's tough, right? Like, most guys have to go through. You go through, like you see with the Mike Sullivans and the John Coopers, you go through the juniors or the college, then you go to the AHL coach for a while. Then you come up and you're the man, right?
Right.
It's rare that you make the jump from college to the NHL without taking the next step, which is the AHL, the coach there. And hone your craft.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about standout guys at that collegiate or international level, whatever.
Right. I mean, most guys stay.
Yeah.
Because you're building a program and you have great success. I mean, again, back in the day, it was the Minnesotas, the North Dakotas, the Boston colleges, the Boston universities. Those guys aren't leaving. They're just not. When you're a dominant franchise, you're just not leaving.
Makes sense.
Like I said, I'd have to look it up to see.
Yeah, nothing pops in my head. Herb Brooks always pops in my head, but he's a very obviously standout personality. So, what else?
I think that would be. I think Herb Brooks did. I mean, he did semi-decent at the you know.
He didn't fall on his face, but he didn't set the league on its ear either, right? So.
No.
What else? What else is going around the league we should know about as we hit this stretch? When we have you on again, we'll probably be about starting the Stanley Cup.
We'll probably be a couple games into the Stanley Cup playoffs. The first round will be in. Look, right now it's the stretch run of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You know, you're trying. Obviously, Ovi's the big thing. Ovechkin, can he get to Gretzky? Sid Crosby, what he's doing is unbelievable. The playoff races are amazing right now. Who's going to get in? And that's really what it is right now. You're seeing post-trade deadline which teams are really going to step up and get into the National Hockey League, and there's always going to be a debate about goalie interference.
Couple things. We'll move off hockey a little bit and talk about a couple other topics that we want to cover before that'll happen or are happening now before we see again. What are your thoughts on the NCAA tournament thus far? A lot of people disappointed, mid-majors not performing like they have, and we may have seen the death of the mid-majors in this tournament as we expand it even further.
So I just got to go back. Jim Montgomery was a college head coach, and he's doing well.
Okay.
He won a Stanley Cup with Boston, and so that's most recently. So good.
So the tournament, we're getting – it's not so much the mid-majors to me that aren't winning what they have in the past. I think it's the first year that no mid-majors made the Sweet 16, and I want to say since we went to 64 teams, which is amazing. That's 40 years ago, and it might be further than that because I think it went to 1975. And it's not just that; it's the games aren't really close. We've had one overtime that was last night. We've had one buzzer beater, which was on a very disputed play. I think that kid took about 27 steps Sunday night at Maryland. What are your thoughts overall on this tournament so far?
I think it sucks. I'll be honest. Like, I don't really care about the NCAA tournament anymore because I think it's too watered down. A, B, I don't like the fact that NIL is taken away from the mid-major schools. I think we all like the sweets. We all like a 13 or a 12 or a seed like that be in the Sweet 16. We love seeing it, and the players that would go to those schools are now being poached because of NIL money. Like, they're all getting paid to go play at Duke or Arizona or the SEC. It's become the SEC Invitational. Like, we all talk about the SEC bias in college football. Well, there's the SEC bias now in college basketball because they're the best conference. And I've heard what Seth Greenberg said and Dan Hurley and guys about Big East and ACC, merging. and being regional. Well, this is why we loved college football. This is why we loved college sports. It was a regional thing that was national. It wasn't a national sport that was regional. We loved the regionality about it. College hockey is still regional. Even though these other programs play in different conferences, they still are within their conference. You know, the death of college basketball came when the death of the Big East came. And the Big East is still one of the best conferences in basketball. But, you know, you lose power conferences like Syracuse out of the Big East. Now what are we going to do? Well, we want to merge the two schools. Well, then the Big East tournament still needs to be in, you know, Madison Square Garden. We're not sending Big East teams down to North Carolina for the ACC tournament. That's the way it's going to be. And you have all these SEC teams in there because they're all playing. And they all have big money that they can spend. And it's ruined the sport. And it's ruined the tournament.
You made an interesting point about the Big East the end of the Big East being the start of the downfall of college basketball. It's interesting because the real boom in college basketball, people like to point to Bird and Magic, which was a huge game in 1979. But I would argue something happened within that same year, and there was the birth of the Big East that really catapulted college basketball.
Right, because you had Georgetown, Seton Hall, you had UConn, you had the Syracuse, you had the great games, Marquette. Big Monday. You had great games. It was a coaches league. You had a league full of coaches with great personalities. St. John's was good. St. John's was, very good for the early 80s and mid 80s. It was nice to see them come back this year, but again, this is the problem. Nobody can shoot the basketball. It feels like either they can shoot the basketball, they can't play defense, or they play great defense and can't put the ball in the basket. And that was St. John's problem here last week against Arkansas. No, I know, I get it. I mean, it's tough because, like, again, now we're at 68 teams playing around. Like, go back to what it was. 64 teams make the field. And everybody is complaining about, how come this one got this? It's the same arguments we hear in college football when we had the 12-team playoff to the 14 playoff. Is it really going to matter? Is 65 through 68 really, matter who's in and who's out? No.
72 or
now, to 72. Come on. You didn't make the tournament. And now
probably 76.
Right, and it's hurt the NIT, which is usually good basketball, too. And now we have another championship tournament that is outside NCAA tournament. It makes no sense. It's just money grabs. All it is money grab, and the tournament's just watered down. And all the top talent is at the top schools, and it's hurt the mid-majors. And even if the mid-majors do make a run, like Colorado State lost to Maryland, their best player is probably gone next year and going to the SEC or the ACC or somebody else.
Or follow the coach.
And the portal's open. And we didn't even mention the portal. The portal's open. Guys are just leaving.
You can't. At Monday, the portal opened while we're still playing for a national championship. It's crazy. It's John Calipari. They had a press conference. He didn't even know the portal was opening. And he's like, now we got to go in and talk to the kids about whether they're planning on staying while we're getting ready to play a basketball game.
I know.
It's nuts.
I said I said it with college football. I said it with college basketball. Once the national championship is over, then the portal can open.
100%. And going to 72, and people go, wow, the mid-majors will make out when we expand the tournament. No, they won't.
No,
they won't. You're going to see it. You see it in football. They want to go to 14, whatever number they go to. They're not going to do it without the Big Ten and the SEC getting, 8 automatic bids. That's ridiculous. Now it becomes, and I had this argument with one of my great followers who I haven't seen in a while on my college football show, John DeLon. He was calling the playoff expansion a participation trophy tournament, and I argued with him that's not true. Well, if you're going to take teams, if you're going to take it for 8 teams from 2 conferences, half of this NCAA field was from 3 conferences when you got down to 64. I
think the SEC had the most teams in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, 7 of the 14 got into the Sweet 16. That's got to be a record for sure. Yeah. Somehow the committee managed to keep them from playing only 1 game between SEC teams in the Sweet 16. So they were lining this tournament up to try to get 3 to 4 teams in this in the Final Four, and they still could get 3. now.
Yeah, so basically it's the SEC championship again.
It's and again, that's what's going to happen.
Pathetic. It's just pathetic. The tournament is not what it used to be. Like
Yeah.
the 90s and the early 2000s when you had these Cinderella runs, and when, like, I said this to somebody on one of my shows that I did the other day. I said, if Steph Curry played now, he's not playing at Davidson.
That's a great point.
Like,
That's a great point.
He's not playing at Davidson. He's not playing at Davidson. The reason he played at Davidson is because he couldn't make it. Well, it's not like he couldn't make it. They just didn't want him. Now they can get him because they could pay him.
Well, he wouldn't have played 4 years at Davidson, that's for sure. I mean, even if he started
he would have
there.
played 1 year at Davidson, and he would have been into a big school.
And this is the other problem, right? The transfer portal, as you mentioned before, you're rebuilding your team every single year.
Right.
St. John's has already made a couple of moves since they've been out of the tournament for 48 hours.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it's all based on football. And I think they just got to get back to regionalizing these conferences again, right? Like,
yeah.
no offense. Like, I agree with Seth Greenberg. We said this about football too. There's no reason why Stanford and Cal have to be going cross country to play ACC games. There's no reason for it. Notre Dame in football, yes, they play a quasi ACC schedule, but they don't.
Yeah, Cal and Stanford met up in I think the first or second round of the ACC tournament, and they traveled all the way to Greensboro. I think they played in Greensboro. I'm not sure. No, where did they play?
Charlotte.
They may have played in Charlotte, so they got to travel across the country to play each other in the ACC tournament. It's just
It
it's
makes
not
no
going to get better. It's not going to get better, I don't think.
No, it's not.
Let me pivot to the draft a little bit. Again, you and I are both big Hurricane fans. I'm not sold on Cam Ward.
Neither am I.
He may become a quarterback in this league. For Cam Ward to be a top 5 pick is absurd. Or Shedeur Sanders, who appears maybe to be falling. I've said for years that teams overreach for quarterbacks. There's numbers that go back. You go back to the common draft started in 1967, and like 8% of the quarterbacks taken in the first round have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
8%. That's not great odds.
No, it's not. And the guys that have gone in, like find me Hall of Famers too. I mean, outside of the big class that had Marino, Kelly, and Elway in it, and you have some others along the way. I mean, you look at it. I mean, look, I think that the quarterback class that Eli Manning was in with Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger was a great, like, those three guys.
There's aberrations, right? I mean, but
yeah.
As a rule, if you're going to go by numbers, which these guys all want to do, the numbers say you don't take a quarterback in the first round. Now, I know that's crazy. You get an exceptional talent like a Peyton Manning or whatever.
I mean, like, it's different, but, like, I think Tennessee's just in love with the workouts and in love with this guy. And if they believe that's their guy, they just got to develop him. But the problem is it's not – the NFL is not like basketball. It's not like hockey. And it's not like baseball. You can't rebuild. And you can't have – and you – yeah, well – John knows my feelings about Daniel Jones and overreach.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody knows my feelings about that pick. I never liked it. I never agreed with it. I thought it was a bad play. If you really wanted the guy, and I've talked to multiple people who've confirmed this to me, that he was not going in the first round. Nobody wanted him. It was all media speculation. Nobody was taking him in the first round. Nobody. So it was a reach then. You could have drafted a player then, come back late in the first round and still got him. Then I wouldn't have had a problem with it. Because he's a late first round. Okay, that's fine. But you reach for him at 5. And now they're going to do it again. But going back to it, I say this. The Bears, Browns, Giants, Jets, all the bad teams in the league are on a hamster wheel of death. Because there's an impossible balancing act of winning now and developing talent. You cannot do both. You have to either say, the owner has to be on board with, we're going to suck for a few years because we're giving the kids a chance to play and building our team the right way to have sustainability success like we see in the other leagues, or it's win now and you don't draft quarterback and you draft the best available player at the top of the draft. If that's really, you have to pick one strategy. You cannot pick both.
Yeah, I'm praying there's one more stupid team that does take Sanders in the top 3, and
It
my
better
guy
not be the
to
Giants
4.
because I think what they should really do is if Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter are there at 3, you pick one of those guys.
100%. Or trade back if they're not there. They could accumulate some draft picks. They can take a.
I guarantee somebody will want the 3rd overall pick to draft Sanders. You can get more first-round draft picks and maybe a player that could play on your team right now.
Yeah. And that'll be a big reach, by the way. Anybody does move up, I'm not sure that they will. John does have Sanders.
I think Jackson Dart's going to the Saints.
That'd be a good pick. I can see. If I'm the Giants, I might trade out of that pick and get Jackson Dart later in the back of the first round.
There's other guys that are available in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds that are quarterbacks that play that actually are pretty good.
They're as good as Jackson Dart or Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward. I think they're all going to be projects. Nobody's helping you this year.
No one's helping you this year, and that's what people don't understand. These quarterbacks are not coming into the league and going to light the world on fire, right? And you better build a team around them, or you're going to have a Derek Carr on your hand, David Carr on your hand, right? It's going to get killed every year. Like, it's just going to get killed, and like you. I agree with Chris Canty. I agree with all these former Giants players. Pick a strategy, right? Like, just pick a strategy because, first of all, I don't understand what they did. You signed Jameis for 2 years. Okay, fine. I'm like, okay, he's a starting quarterback for 2 years. It's great. Fine. Then you go draft a quarterback. Right. Then you get Russell Wilson. Why?
Why both? You don't need both.
You don't need both guys. And you saw, and this is what I just talked about. Oh, Mara's put pressure on these guys to win, or else we're gonna have change. Okay, but if that was really the case, then why didn't you step in and keep Saquon Barkley and make better decisions and do all this stuff to make your team better?
Who is your team in the NFL?
Giants. I'm a Giant fan. My dad raised me a Giant fan.
Here's the thing.
Like, it just piss poor decision making from this team and management.
Well, here's the thing. I can't see there's any reason. Why are you keeping Daboll and Shine when say you have to, and there's no bar. We say there's a bar, but we don't know what it is. Is it 6 wins? Is it 10 wins?
They're not getting 6 wins this year. They're not even getting 4.
Well, this is my thing with Wilson and Winston. You're not going to, that's not getting you 8 wins or 9 wins. No. I don't think.
No. And by the way, you still have, even everybody says, oh, that you could beat Dallas. Somehow they still lose to Dallas both games every year. You had opportunities to beat the Cowboys last year and you didn't do it. You just laid an egg every time. The division's tough. You're losing the Eagles twice. You're losing the Commanders twice. Sorry. But the kid, Joe Shane's, the worst thing that happened to the Giants outside of the boat picture was the Hard Knocks.
Oh, without a doubt.
When Mara's there, it's like, I pray to God, the nightmare. I hope he doesn't sign in Philadelphia. And Joe Shane's kid says you got to draft Jaden Daniels, and they don't do it. Like, you can't. That's why that show got canceled, because the Giants management just looks like they're idiots. Yeah,
who'd want to do it? I got to believe you. Every time I see that clip of John Mara, I hear the word "you" all the time. You better hope he doesn't sign with the Eagles.
Yeah, you better hope. Well, yeah. Well, guess what? But you hadn't. See, this is what I don't understand. Like, I know Jerry Jones gets a lot of criticism for overstepping his boundary, but at some point, exactly, John. If John Mara had any, clue what was going on, he would have stepped in and said, "No, you're paying Saquon Barkley this. We're franchise tagging Daniel Jones, and that's the way it's going to be." Because we have a franchise running back that we can build around.
Yeah, great point.
The Giants way, you've known this. I know this. The Giants and Steelers both build teams one way. Good running game, win in the trenches, good defense, average quarterback play. This draft is bad. It's not a good draft.
This is one of the worst that I can remember in recent memory. And I've said for a while, we can talk about Cam Ward. We can talk about Shadur Sanders. There'll be a couple of guys. I'm not saying nobody will be remembered, but of the guys we really talk about, in 10 years, the only ones we'll be talking about are Travis Hunter and Carter. And that's probably it.
Yeah, I mean, unless somebody gets picked out of like the third, fourth round and make it like like you're not gonna talk. You're not gonna talk about, you know, the guys, the offensive linemen. No one talks about the offensive or defensive lineman guys that are just they do what they do and have 10-year careers. We don't, you don't hear about those guys, and you're gonna find those guys in every draft. But everybody wants to find a first round standout. There's only two of them, and it's Abdul Carter and it's Travis Hunter. Those are two best players. There's a reason why Travis Hunter won the Heisman Trophy. He's the best college player in the league.
You know, we get on Deion.
Would you say this? Would Genty be one of those players for you that could be a standout?
That's a possibility. I should back that up, and he could be. I worry about his size a little bit, but in the NFL and lasting a while, he's got to get in the right organization. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm figuring out any way to get Giante on my team.
Yeah,
that he can make all the difference for that organization. But yes, he's another guy that you could talk about. There's a running back out of North Carolina nobody's talking about too that we're going to possibly be a steal because he may go in the second round. I'm trying to think of his name now. Is it Carter? I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
But somebody to think about. I want to say one thing about Deion too, and Deion's it's funny how now he's backing up on his comments about where Shooter is going to play. He's happy with wherever he gets drafted. All of a sudden now that he's rumored to be dropping down the board. I give Deion credit for this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
He somehow did one of the great recruiting jobs in the history of college football when he got Travis Hunter to decommit from Florida State and go to Jackson State. That was unbelievable. I don't know whether he said, "Hey, I got a crystal ball and you'll be playing Division I football and you'll be potentially number one pick in a draft if you come with me." He could have had all that at Florida State, but he went to Jackson State with Deion. It's one of the great recruiting stories maybe in the history of college football.
It just makes me wonder where Deion sits in all this with Colorado and if he gets to the pros. Like if his son goes someplace and then he becomes a coach there, like it just makes me wonder.
100%. Yeah, Jack. This is a guy, and he won't get drafted. He may go to back middle. He may go to the back of the second round, but Scatterbo
is a good running back. Again, another guy with. I mean, he's bigger than Genty, but again, size, right? Like he's one of those dudes in Arizona State that if you didn't watch Arizona, you have no clue who he is.
But the NFL devalues these running backs so much. Giante, it's odd you're going to get a running back going, in the top 10 most likely.
The last guy to do it was Saquon, right? I mean, Saquon was the last high running back.
Yeah. So Scatterbo was a great player, and somebody's going to get a great player with a really good value pick, I think. So
yeah, I agree.
Jim, I appreciate you coming on and joining me today, as always, and get us up to date on the NHL and a lot of other stuff. This gives us the opportunity to chat about some other stuff with you, which I like to do.
We haven't really talked a lot about other sports recently. It's usually hockey, but you guys, my encyclopedia in my brain can talk about anything.
I know. I tend to pinpoint you as a hockey guy, and I know you do a lot more than that, and I want to give you that platform here, so I'm glad you came in. You have a good weekend, and we'll see you later.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talks 101. Today was Jim Biringer. Next week, I'm not sure. It could be Jenny Paul. We'll see. Daughter of Gabe Paul, former Yankees president. Hopefully, that's who we got. We'll see you then. I'll see you later, by the way, with the MLB preview. I'll be doing with Drew Ehrlich at 3 o'clock today. We'll probably go a couple hours. Have a great Friday afternoon.